investigation of the psychological determinants of habit formation using the example of a flossing habit. Many health problems are caused by unhealthy behaviours such as smoking, binge drinking, eating too much, or not doing healthy behaviours such as taking regular exercise, taking medication appropriately, and general hygiene. However, it's notoriously difficult to change people's behaviour, particularly over the long term. And habits have been cited as an effective way to get sustained changes in behaviour. Habits are behaviours which have been performed frequently in a stable context, such that when you encounter that situation, the behaviour proceeds automatically without you needing to consciously think about it. Despite this, there hasn't been a lot of investigation into the determinants of habit formation beyond repetition. So this study decided to look at some of the determinants of habit formation, particularly looking at a flossing habit. Flossing is important as it prevents cavities and keeps gums healthy. And also gum disease has been implicated with other systematic health effects such as cardiovascular disease and low birth weight when present in expecting mothers. So one of the things we investigated was the effect of prospective memory. And prospective memory is remembering to do something in the future rather than remembering something that happened in the past. And this is important for taking on a new behaviour because when you form the intention to perform that behaviour, the opportunity to perform the behaviour doesn't often happen until a while later. So at the appropriate time, you need to remember that intention that you formed at an earlier moment. So we wanted to see whether people who have a higher prospective memory ability were more likely to be able to take on this new behaviour. We also looked at the structure of routine behaviour, because every new behaviour that you take on has to be inserted into your existing routine. And we looked at whether flossing was more likely to be taken on and to become habitual if it's added before or after brushing. This is because routine behaviour is structured as a hierarchy. Complex behaviours are broken down into simpler behaviours and simpler behaviours. And we thought there may be a difference if you add a new behaviour at the beginning of a chunk of behaviour or in the middle or end, which is why we're investigating flossing before or after hand washing. 50 participants took part in the study. They came for a first session where they completed some questionnaires, including one measuring their prospective memory ability, and they were also asked to describe their evening routine in some detail. This was to find out where flossing could be added into their routine, and also was used to help them form a reminder based on something that they do daily to help them remember to floss. They were told about the benefits of flossing and also given instructions about how to floss. Half the participants were told to floss before toothbrushing and half after toothbrushing. Following this session, participants responded daily to a text asking whether they had flossed the previous night for 4 weeks. So we had daily self-reported behaviour for 4 weeks following the intervention. Then they came back to the researcher and they answered some more questionnaires, including one measuring how strong their habit was for flossing. And then 8 months later, they were again asked about their flossing behaviour and about their habit. People with higher prospective memory ability showed higher levels of flossing over the 4 weeks, suggesting that people who are good at remembering to do things in the future are more likely to find it easier to take on a new behaviour. Participants who were asked to floss after brushing, as opposed to before brushing, showed a slight tendency to have stronger habits at 4 weeks. And at 8 months, they showed both higher levels of flossing behaviour and stronger habits. So why are people who floss after toothbrushing more likely to form a habit than people who floss before toothbrushing? The answer can be found in the science of routine behaviour. Between chunks of a routine, there's disruption of memory, and this may make it less likely for someone to remember to floss if they floss before toothbrushing as opposed to after toothbrushing. And as an additional explanation, it's been shown that there's increased brain processing between these chunks of behaviour in a routine. And therefore, behaviour at this point, so at the beginning of the chunk, might be less likely to be handed over to automatic control than behaviour in the middle of the chunk, say after brushing, when you're acting more automatically and on autopilot. Positive attitudes towards flossing predicted higher levels of habit at 4 weeks, and this was independent of levels of behaviour during the study. This finding was unexpected because conventional thinking about habit formation suggests that higher attitudes, stronger attitudes, lead to higher levels of behaviour, and only through this behaviour repetition you get increased habits. The findings of the study are very exciting, as it was shown that it's not just repetition that affects how likely someone is to form a habit. There are other factors such as attitude, placement of a new behaviour in a routine, and someone's prospective memory ability, or how good they are at remembering to do things in the future. All these things can also have an impact on forming of a new habit. This is very exciting, as these findings can be used to help design interventions in the future that are more likely to lead to sustained changes in healthy behaviours, and they also open up new avenues of research in the field of habit formation.